have more breaking inputs coming in on this issue. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has mounted an attack on DMK through a tweet after, of course, raising this issue during his address in Meerut. The Prime Minister says DMK did nothing to save Tamil Nadu's interest. DMK's double standards have been exposed. So the Prime Minister not just hitting out at the Congress, but also Congress's ally in the INDI, the DMK, and saying that both Congress and the DMK have done nothing as far as Tamil Nadu's interests are concerned. S Jaishankar, the Foreign Affairs Minister, in fact, is holding a press conference, I believe, on the same issue. Let's cut live to it.
Whole problem. So let me first explain what the issue is, and then I want to tell you today what has really transpired, which has created the issue, and why that issue is today relevant to all of us. Why are we debating it today? In 1974, India and Sri Lanka, in June 1974, concluded an agreement where they drew their maritime boundary. And in drawing the maritime boundary, Katchatheevu was put on the Sri Lankan side of the boundary. This agreement of 1974 had three other clauses. One clause which said that each country shall have sovereignty and exclusive jurisdiction and control over the waters. The second clause, Article 5, it gave to Indian fishermen that they will continue to access Katchatheevu as hitherto and will not be required to obtain travel documents. And the third one, that the vessels of India and Sri Lanka will enjoy in each other's waters such rights that they have traditionally enjoyed. So this was the agreement which was reached in 1974 in June. Now when this agreement was presented before Parliament, the then Foreign Minister, Sri Swaran Singh ji, he actually assured the Parliament, and I am reading his words, I feel confident that the agreement demarcating the maritime boundary in the Pork Bay will be considered as fair, just and equitable to both countries. At the same time, I wish to remind the honourable members that in concluding this agreement, the rights of fishing, please note, the rights of fishing, pilgrimage and navigation, which both sides have enjoyed in the past, have been fully safeguarded for the future. This was the assurance that the then Foreign Minister, Sri Swaran Singh ji, gave in Parliament at that time. 1974, July 23, 1974. Now, in less than 2 years, actually, there was another agreement between India and Sri Lanka through an exchange of letters. And in this agreement, now, India proposed the following. Again, I am reading to you from the original document. With the establishment of the exclusive economic zones by the two countries, India and Sri Lanka will exercise sovereign rights over the living and non-living resources of their respective zone. The fishing vessels and fishermen of India shall not engage in fishing in the historic waters, the territorial sea, and the exclusive zone of Sri Lanka. So, 1974, assurance is given. By 1976, an agreement is concluded which actually gives away this assurance. Now, once this agreement in 1976 was concluded, there then evolved a position, a standard position, you can say, of the government on this matter. And I'm reading to you an example. This is from 2006. It is a question which is answered by the then Minister E. Ahmed on the floor of the Parliament. And he says, Mr. Ahmed, the 1974 agreement on the demarcation of the international maritime boundary line between India and Sri Lanka, as also the exchange of letters of 1976 on this issue of fishing rights, stipulate that the fishing vessels and fishermen of India shall not engage in fishing in the historic waters, territorial seas and the EEZ of Sri Lanka. So this is now the position which is taken by the government as a regular position. I am only giving you one example from 2006. So what has happened? What has been the consequence of this? In the last 20 years, 6,184 Indian fishermen have been detained by Sri Lanka. 6,184. And in the same period, 1,175 fishing vessels, Indian fishing vessels, have been seized, detained, apprehended by the Sri Lankans. So this is really today the background. This is the issue that we are discussing. Now you can ask, why are we discussing it? And the answer is, in the last 5 years, in the Parliament, in the Consultative Committee, we have repeatedly, this issue, Katchatheevu issue and the fishermen's issue, has been repeatedly raised by various parties, by all parties, I would say. As I mentioned, in Parliament it has come up as Parliament question, it has come up in debates, it has been raised in the Consultative Committee, and in fact, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has written to me numerous times, and my record shows that to the current Chief Minister, I have myself replied 21 times on this issue. So please understand, this is not an issue which has suddenly surfaced. This is a live issue. It is an issue which has been very much debated in Parliament, in Tamil Nadu circles as well. It has been the subject of correspondence between the Union government and the state government. And as I said, 21 times I have myself replied to letters. Now, every political party in Tamil Nadu has taken a position on this. And here, one of the reasons why we are debating it is, in looking at these two issues, the Katchatheevu issue and the fishermen issue, two parties, the Congress and the DMK, have approached this matter as though they have no responsibility for it, as though the situation is for central government, today's central government, for them to resolve. There is no history to this. This has just happened. They are the people who are taking up the cause. That is the way they would like to project it. So the purpose of the press conference today, why I am talking to all of you, is we believe that the public has a right to know. The public has a right to know, how did this situation come about? How was Katchatheevu, how was the 1974 agreement reached? How was Katchatheevu given away? How was the fishing issue handled? Because please understand, the fishing issue actually emanated from a 1976 agreement. So there are two agreements we are talking about. So because these have been live issues, because they have been discussed earlier also in Parliament, two documents were sought from us as an RTI request. And these were provided. One was a document about Ministry of External Affairs summary background note for the meeting of the Informal Consultative Committee in 1968 on this issue. And the second was a record of discussion of a meeting between the then Foreign Secretary and the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Honorable Karunanidhi, in June 1974. Now, the point today is, we know there are two agreements. We know there is a 1974 agreement. We know there is a 1976 agreement. We know who did this. How has the situation arisen? What we do not know is who hid this, who has been party to it, what has been concealed from the public, and we believe it is the right of the public today to know how did this situation come about. Now, with regard to the Katchatheevu issue itself, there have been claims and counterclaims. India had its arguments. Sri Lanka had its arguments. In fact, in one of the two documents, both documents actually, but one has more detail than the other, these claims have been spelled out in some detail. India's claim is mainly that the Katchatheevu island belonged to the Raja of Ramnath, and that he had it from the time that East India Company assigned it to him. It was part of his zamindari rights, and these rights also included fishery, and also that later on these rights moved from the Raja of Ramnath to the Madras government. A second argument was that during after independence, for many years, Indian customs regularly went to Katchatheevu, and this was not obstructed. And the Indian view also was that there was absence of any documentary evidence to show that Sri Lanka had an original title to Katchatheevu. So these were largely the Indian arguments. The Sri Lankan argument, which also this document, which has been obtained under RTI, has released, was that according to them, they have records which go back to the 17th century, and that they also feel there were some conferences where which looked at their claim in a more positive manner. This is their claim. Now, what actually happened on Katchatheevu was, after both India and Sri Lanka became independent, there were issues between the military of the two countries about using this island. And that's how this issue actually came up as an issue between the governments. And from the 1960s, this issue picked up, and it was particularly discussed. There were many discussions, but I think the most important one was a discussion in 1974, few months before the Katchatheevu agreement was done, when the then Sri Lankan Prime Minister, Sirimavo Bandaranaike, came and met Indira Gandhi ji, who was then Prime Minister of India. So this broadly is the issue. These are the claims. But as I said, we know who did it. We are today looking and discussing who hid it. Now, in all of this, whenever there is a territorial dispute, it is natural that there is a request. You take a legal view of what is the claim. So at this time, the legal view was actually originally sought from the then Attorney General of India, Sri M.C. Setalvad. Many of you would be familiar. He was a very famous person. He was a legal luminary. Now, it's very interesting. Sri Setalvad gave his legal opinion as the Attorney General in 1958. In that opinion, he says, the matter, and I'm reading from it, the matter is by no means clear or free from difficulty, but on the assessment of the whole evidence, it appears to me that the balance lies in favor of concluding that the sovereignty of the island was and is in India. So this is the opinion of the then Attorney General. In fact, he not only mentions that, he also says, because please note, he says that the matter is by no means clear. He says whatever is agreed, it can also be limited by custom or treaty, and therefore Mr. Setalvad suggests that it may be possible for India to contend that there exists a right by custom in the Indian fishermen to fish in the territorial waters of the island. So essentially, the Attorney General is saying that the balance of the balance is something which goes in favor of India. But even if it doesn't, there is still a case. There is still a case to insist on fishing rights, access of Indian fishermen to the waters of this island. Now, interestingly, other than the Attorney General, you know, the Ministry of External Affairs also has a legal department. So we had a gentleman there at that time called Dr. K. Krishna Rao. He was a very eminent person dealing with international law. And Mr. K. Krishna Rao also takes a very interesting view. He says, I'm not suggesting that we have no case at all, but I submit that our legal case in this connection may be used to obtain fishing rights of India, and the people of Tamil Nadu are mature enough to see that it is in the interest of India, a big and great country, to keep her neighbors, particularly her small neighbors, satisfied. So please appreciate today how strong, how deep, how pervasive this thinking was. For them sitting in Delhi, this island, this small rock, this island of no importance, this did not matter. It was an inconvenience to be given away so that they, in their minds, could actually get, not just have good relations with a neighbor. They found it irritating, it was coming up in Parliament. For them it was a headache. So they saw the territory of India, and when someone says Jansang also had the same view, yes, there were parties for whom every millimeter of Indian territory mattered. Apparently there were parties to whom even large tracts of Indian territory, as we saw on Aksai Chin, did not matter. Now, so far, I have spoken about what was the approach of the central government and of the Congress party. But you know, you have to ask yourself, would it have been possible if there was no connivance at the state level? Now, since 1974, we have heard protestations from the state government, then state government, from the DMK. As I pointed out, I get so many letters even now from the Chief Minister of the DMK. So I want to now turn the focus to the second document of the RTI. This is a document which is a record of a meeting on 19 June 1974, which is held in Fort St. George, the Secretariat, Tamil Nadu Secretariat conference room, where the Foreign Secretary, accompanied by the Director of the Historical Division, he calls on the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karunanidhi, and present there are the Tamil Nadu Chief Secretary, gentleman called P. Sabanayakam, and the Home Secretary, a gentleman called S.P. Ambrose. Now I want to share with you the relevant part of this, because this will now answer the question, not just the question who did it, but the question who hid it also. After the exchange of courtesies, Foreign Secretary, recalling the talks he had in New Delhi with the Chief Minister in 13th October 1973. So please note, we are talking 19 June 74. So talks have been going on between the Foreign Ministry, Union Government and the Chief Minister from 1973. So recalling 13th October 1973 and with the Chief Minister, Secretary and other officials of Tamil Nadu in Madras on 14th October 1973, before the Indo-Sri Lanka official level talks in Colombo on 15-16 October 1973. So the key point is, 1 year before the Katchatheevu agreement, already then Union government and then state government led by DMK were already, the Chief Minister, up to the level of Chief Minister, were already discussing this agreement, and they are discussing this agreement before they actually go into talks with Sri Lanka. Now then it says, Foreign Secretary said, the purpose was to keep the Tamil Nadu government fully informed. Please note these words, fully informed of the developments in the talks with Sri Lanka and get the benefit of the views and negotiations of the Tamil Nadu, views and suggestions of the Tamil Nadu authorities. So this is actually the truth. The truth is, for a party which has been saying, how was Katchatheevu given away? How was state government not consulted? How could the union government have done this? The fact is that actually there were consultations going on. They were kept fully informed. And please, when you hear the rest of it, you will see that it is much more than this. So I am now reading another part of the document. Foreign Secretary then said that he had the authority of the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister to put forward to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu for his consideration a compromise proposal which would divide the historic waters in the Park Bay. So here it is. It is not even that they are being informed after the event. They are actually being consulted 1 year ahead. The key proposal is now actually being put forward to the Chief Minister. And the Foreign Secretary then proceeds, the next paragraph will show, he proceeds to explain this in great length. Now, at the end of the conversation, again I am quoting from the document, on the substance of the proposal, the Chief Minister indicated that he was inclined to accept the suggested solution. Then it goes on. The Chief Minister, having once again signified his general acceptance of the suggested solution, said that for obvious political reasons, he could not be expected to take a public stand in favor of it. The Chief Minister, however, assured Foreign Secretary that he will help keep the reaction at a low key and will not allow it to be played up. The Foreign Secretary appreciated this gesture and stressed that nothing should be done to embarrass the central government or turn this affair into an issue between the center and the state. So, the fact is, we know today actually not just who did it, but also who hid it, who were all the parties who were responsible for the 1974 Katchatheevu agreement. Also, how the fishing rights were terminated in 1976. So, if we have today a situation, as I shared with all of you, that in the last 20 years, if 6,184 fishermen were detained, if 1,175 boats were detained, you all know who is responsible. So, for today, it is important for the public to know, it is important for the people to judge. This issue has actually been hidden too long from the gaze of the public. So, we believe today that, at a time when there are big debates and decisions going on in this country, that the full truth on Katchatheevu and on Tamil fishermen's activities and right of living should be placed before the public. That was the purpose for this press conference. I thank you for your attention in listening to me.
Sir, you raised this issue and you said that you wanted to initially know who did it and why they did it, and now you say that you know why it was done. But why is this issue being raised right now? Is this because...
All right, so you heard the External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar speak about the Katchatheevu issue, and in this particular press conference he said We now know the facts that the island was given away to Sri Lanka. What we are trying to highlight today is the connivance and the collusion, who was party to it and who hid it. That's what the Bharatiya Janata Party is exposing. The minister said that this issue in fact is a live issue. It's not come up all of a sudden. It was repeatedly raised and discussed in the parliament. In fact, he himself has replied 21 times to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu on this particular issue. He says today DMK and Congress are trying to project as if they have nothing to do with the issue and that they are taking up this cause. He then went into the details and spoke about the two documents that were sought as an RTI request. One document which was about a meeting in 1968 on this very issue, and the second document was about a meeting between the then Foreign Secretary and the then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister in 1974. The External Affairs Minister emphasized on this second meeting, the second document that we are talking about, between the meeting between the then Foreign Secretary and the then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister in 1974, and he says it was during this meeting that the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu was apprised of the suggested solution. And according to the documents, according to the observations made by the then Foreign Secretary about this meeting, S Jaishankar, they're saying that the purpose of the meeting was to apprise the Tamil Nadu government, the Tamil Nadu authorities, and to also take their views and suggestions on the suggested solution. The suggested solution back then was to give away the island of Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka. And the Chief Minister indicated, he was implying to accept the suggested solution and to keep it low-key, gave an assurance that the issue will be kept low-key.
Let me take the question on the topic.
As you said, in the last 20 years, many fishermen are arrested and boats are seized. But when the arrest was happened, neither you nor the Prime Minister not even condemned the incident.
No. Excuse me. Whenever there was an arrest, how do you think the people got released? They got released due to our efforts. I have myself, Prime Minister has taken it up with the President of Sri Lanka, with the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. I have taken it up with my counterparts. Our embassy is working on it. So, it's very good to give statements from Chennai. The people who do the work are us. And we are doing the work because of a situation which people in Chennai and then people in Delhi put us into.
Let's go across to Pragya for more on this. Pragya, the meeting that took place between the then Foreign Secretary and the then Chief Minister, S Jaishankar says it was during that meeting that it was told to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu that this is a suggested solution, which is to give away the island of Katchatheevu. And according to the documented fact that was being cited by the Foreign Minister, that the then Chief Minister agreed to the suggested solution and gave an assurance that it will be kept low-key. Essentially, S Jaishankar is highlighting the connivance. He says that this is a live issue. Now we know who hid it, who concealed the facts from the people.
Well, Swati, you are absolutely right on that. And Mr. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, has come down heavily on the DMK. Time and again, DMK has been raking this issue up and also saying and alleging, blaming a central government for the issues of the fishermen, of the boats that have been detained on the side of Sri Lanka. Despite Sri Lanka being a good neighbor, there had been clashes about the fishermen's right in the waters as well. So all these the controversies regarding the water use and also the fishermen who have right or not, these all came from the past, treaties that have been done by the Congress government. And what the minister is saying, that DMK cannot wash its hand off from the issue because it is the DMK government and K. Karunanidhi, the then chief minister, who decided that this island had to be given to, surrendered in fact to Sri Lanka. This is a very, very big issue in Tamil Nadu. There had been, issues of fishermen that have come regularly to the central government, the boats detained, the fishermen arrested. All of that in External Affairs Ministry has to sort out every time. And the state governments keep on blaming the central government for that, right, irrespective. But here, Jaishankar has clarified that BJP or any other party has nothing to do with it. It rose from the issue that was, the circumstances that were there at that time. And in fact, it was Congress
All right. Stay on with us. We have A. Saravanan joining us on the broadcast. Respond to what S. Jaishankar just said. He's talking about the meeting that took place between the then Foreign Secretary and the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. S. Jaishankar is in fact reading out from documents, from observations and notes, and he says that the then Chief Minister gave assurance that he will keep it low-key. He agreed to the suggested solution. He says DMK and Congress are today trying to portray as if they have nothing to do with the issue. They did not take responsibility. They did not work in the interest of Tamil Nadu.
See, this is not just a file noting. All the information what Mr. Jaishankar told us is in the public domain for the last 50 years. The question is why the BJP is raking it up now. That is the question. What have they done in the last 10 years? They said they will retrieve Katchatheevu. The only reason why the BJP wants to deflect is this. Now the heat is on them. Sri Lanka, we have seen how a Sri Lankan electricity board official has accused PMO that they were arm twisted to give the contract to Mr. Adani. That is why the BJP government did not do anything to retrieve Katchatheevu. They did not even lift their little finger towards retrieving Katchatheevu. Now to mask all that, they are bringing some documents. This secretary
But
said
these are not just some documents. While you say the heat is in the BJP, he is saying that this is a live issue. It has not come up all of a sudden. He has responded to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu at least 21 times on the issue. I want to bring in Narayan Tirupati as well. Narayan Tirupati, I believe the purpose of the press conference was to talk about connivance, was to talk about who hid facts from people. Mr. Saravanan says it's all in public domain. So what are you talking about?
No. See, if these things are there in public domain, then why the DMK was pressurizing the BJP government to retrieve Katchatheevu? That is what we are asking. This is a live issue. In the words of DMK, if the Katchatheevu is retained with India, then there would not have been any problem for the fishermen of Tamil Nadu. That is what DMK also was telling. Now, the DMK has played a very big drama, giving Katchatheevu, handing over Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka, colliding with Congress. They have literally backstabbed Tamils, like how they backstabbed in the NEET. They brought NEET, now they are opposing NEET. They banned Jallikattu, and they say that they were the one to retrieve Jallikattu. They see all this. They brought Sterlite, and they say that they only fought against Sterlite. See, DMK is known for its double standards. When they are ruling in the center.
Okay, you're calling it double standard of the DMK, also saying they were in connivance with the then union government. I want to bring in Mr. A. Savanan. It's not just about giving away the island, it's also about terminating the rights of the fishermen. Now, words like headache and small issue have been used by S Jaishankar to describe the mindset of the then union government, which according to them was in connivance with the DMK, the then government of Tamil Nadu. How do you respond?
See, I have asked a simple question. What has Mr. Jaishankar, after he became the External Affairs Minister, has done? He says he's from the state of Tamil Nadu. Fine. People have voted out Congress because they gave away Katchatheevu in 2014. What have you done in the last 10 years? How are you better than the Congress? You are worse than the Congress. You came to power stating that Congress did this. Now you have not done anything to alleviate that situation. Again, you are now coming and seeking votes on the same premise.
Okay, so I'll ask that question to Mr. Narayan Tirupati on what the BJP has done so far. But are you shying away from the question about connivance? You're still in alliance with them in the INDI. The government, the Congress government that gave away Katchatheevu, shouldn't you be questioning the Congress today also?
See, we have questioned all of them in 1974. You ask them about the electoral bond scam, which is destroying the economy.
So now you're shifting the goalposts. You have questioned them back then, but today you're in alliance with them and questioning the current establishment. But do respond, Mr. Narayan Tirupati. What has your government done?
Accusation is not only against the Congress, it is against the DMK. The RTI very clearly says the Foreign Secretary had asked for the documents which were there actually, which were prevailing, and it very clearly shows that the land belongs to the island belongs to India. But the DMK government refused to give. DMK government did not give the documents in spite of having it. In fact, our Mr. Janakishamurthy, who became the president later on in 2000, the president of Bharatiya Janata Party, he had filed a suit against the central government on this issue under the advice of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. But the state government did not respond and it did not give the documents. That is why the case was dismissed. So it is a conspiracy of
Mr. Saravanan and Mr. Narayan Tirupati, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast.